Good morning and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So today I am outside in the backyard. It's early Sunday morning, mid-September. This will be on my channel on this upcoming Wednesday, so it'll be relatively recent, but it's nice and cool this morning. It's probably in the 50s out here, and I am out here to do a hopefully brief video, a little bit of a garden tour. I usually do those about every 2 weeks. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Zone 6A. And I was thinking about the fact that I always introduce Kalamazoo, Michigan, Zone 6A. Some people may not know what Zone 6A is. So zones are hardiness zones that were created by the USDA, and the purpose of those is for planting crops so that you can know the average minimum temperature that your area reaches, so that you can know when to plant, what you can and what you can't grow in that area. And so there's 13 zones, I believe, and so zone 6 is like kind of right in the middle, so which is great. It's the weather is kind of right in the middle, and so basically our average lows are 0 to -10 in the winter. Now, before I started gardening, I used to kind of despise winter here because it gets cold, and I would say Michigan would be great if it wasn't for winter. But so now that I've started gardening, I realized that everything has a purpose, really. God knew what he was doing when he created this earth and these zones, because, there are things that, like fruit trees, for example, and as you all know, I have like 16 fruit trees. There are things that need a certain number of chill hours over a year. So they need a certain number of freezing temperatures, a certain number of hours of freezing temperatures to actually blossom and set fruit when it's warm. And if we didn't have winter in Michigan, there would be so many things here we couldn't grow. I mean, we grow a lot of fruit in Michigan, and that would be very difficult to do, close to impossible, without winter. And winter does a lot of other things. It affects the whole ecosystem. So when you start talking about changing temperatures, you really start talking about changing a lot of things. It's much bigger than just whether you're cold or not. So from bugs to migration patterns to food crops you can grow. I mean, it's just so much. So now I just accept winter and plan for the spring, plan my garden for the upcoming year. And, if I want to get out of the snow, I guess I can travel. So that is the deal with the hardiness zones. Also, northern Michigan or the UP may be a different zone. I'm in southwestern Michigan, so that's zone 6A. It's a little warmer down here than it is obviously up north. So they may even be zone 5. The lower number you go with the zones, the colder it tends to get in the winter. So like I said, Michigan's right in the middle, so that's pretty good. So I brought you out here for a reason, and let me show you why. Ta-da! Oh my God, the shed is finally painted. I've decided to call it a potting shed. It's like I'm using it really for gardening stuff. I wanted a greenhouse, but I couldn't get one of those. So I settled on this shed, and I'm going to call it a potting shed. But anyway, it's finally painted. And I really wanted to just show you my work because, man, since the last video, this is what I've been doing, painting like every day, a couple of hours. And it took a lot. It may not look like it. It's just 2 colors, but man, there was a lot of taping off all these white trim pieces. All of that had to be taped and then painted separately, and other areas retaped. So it was quite a bit, but I finally got that done, and all my little details on the inside and on the outside that I wanted to get done. So let me walk around. Try not to shake the camera too much. This side was extremely tall. I had to get out my big ladder for that. I don't know how tall that is, but it's like 15 feet or something up at least. So that was a challenge for me because I don't like heights. But anyway, I got it done. I decided to just go ahead and put some mums in these window boxes, even though the season is almost over. It is mum season here in Kalamazoo. So I just grabbed some of those from Walmart, of all places. I don't shop at Walmart hardly ever, but I know they have cheap plants usually. So they were like $5 a piece, and they're big ones. They're like 6-inch, I think, 6-inch pots. So I got some of those for all the window boxes. I put up, you can see it, my little solar wall lights, which I'm very happy with. There are 2 of those. There's one on each side. So those come on at dusk, go off when either they run out of battery power or when it gets light. Usually they stay on, I would say probably for about 8 hours, I would think. I mean, when I go to bed, they're still on, but they're off, obviously, by the time I wake up. So, and then I got some little solar path lights here. These change colors, so they're just decorative and cute. This cardboard is here because, as I think I said before, I am trying to kill the grass here because I'm going to till all this up, which is my next project around this shed, and plant a bunch of spring bulbs out here. Well, fall bulbs that come up in the spring, I should say. So I've ordered a bunch of them. I think I've ordered like 150 different kinds of bulbs. I'll probably put some in the front too, but all the way around here, I'm going to make a garden bed. I have this little edging that I'm just going to use around the perimeter of it. It's just decorative. And then over here are 2 more window boxes, and I have more mums. Luke is making noise. Why is Luke making noise? And then the back is just plain. There's a window back there because I ordered extra windows, and so you just put one in the back. You couldn't put any more on the front, so. All right, and you couldn't put any on the tall side because that's where the workbench and all that stuff is, so they can't put a window there. All right, and then up there I have the solar panels mounted for those hanging pendant lights that are inside. So that's all. All right, so front doors, I opened those to let in a little more light here so you can see. But anyway, there are the 2 pendant lights that I hooked up here, solar lights, and I ran the cord all the way down and through the little crack in the side of the door to put the panels on the roof. So that's working out great. Those are very pretty. They give a soft yellow light. It's just nice. I mean, there may be some evenings where I'm out here doing stuff, maybe potting up some seedlings or something, so I'll have some light. And it just makes the whole thing glow from inside the house. When you look out at the shed, the whole thing just glows, so it's awesome. And then I got my other shelf set up. Right now I have some, I got some onions on there that are curing. I pulled out all my onions. There's a lot of onions. They're not too big because I planted them late in the season, but that's more onions than I would probably need over the next few months, so I won't have to buy any onions for a while, and I'm very happy about that. So those are curing, but basically, yeah, these racks are going to be used for curing seedlings, hardening off seedlings before I plant them in the ground, storage of all my outside planting materials, and then I got extra gas, gas cans. And the reason I went out and bought a couple of new ones, I just had a very tiny 2-gallon one, but I went out and bought these 2 5-gallon ones because the power went out, and it was out like for several hours. And I have a nice big generator, but then I realized it hardly had no gas in it because I don't like to just store gas in it because, I mean, my power goes out maybe once a year, so I don't usually store gas in it. So it didn't have much gas, and so I couldn't run it the entire time because I would have ran out of gas. So I was like, let me put some extra gas in my shed so that I have backup if the power goes out or whatever. And I put the fuel stabilizer in there, so hopefully it'll be okay. I can always use it in the lawnmower too, or the snowblower. I have a snowblower too. All right, so I got all of my gardening supplies out here that were in my basement and in the garage, all the fertilizers and sprays and pesticides and neem oils and compost starters and pots and more pots. All of that stuff is here now, so that's great. Sprayers. I did cut my little 2x4 boards like I told you I was going to do, and I mounted one there. Let's see, there's one here, and then one on the other side over here. And so I am able to hang all my tools, my gardening tools, up on the wall so they're not on the floor, which is great because I like having open space to move around. I got this neat thermostat dial that I mounted up here, and I needed big numbers because I have poor vision. My vision is getting worse as I get older, but I like, big, easy to read. So this was the only one that I found that actually had really large numbers. The rest were tiny, and I was like, I don't want to be straining my eyes trying to see that thing. I want to be able to see it across the room. So as you can see in here right now, it's about 61, 62 degrees. And it is, what time? It's 9:30. It's supposed to be close to 90 today. So, yeah. And then it also tells you the humidity. The humidity is high. Good gosh, it says it's almost 80% in here. So, that's not good. Anywho, probably because only one window was open. I closed the other ones because I was watering those mums and I didn't want water to spray in. But anyway, so I got that done. This is just a little table that, I sit stuff on or whatever. I had it. It was my old office desk, actually, so I just bought it out here. The color matched. Those green stalks are still in the box until spring. I put my fire pit wood in here to store, to get it out of my garage. This is awesome. This is a raised garden bed. It's a small one. It's like 1.5 feet depth, like 1.5 in depth, and it's about 3 feet long. So it's small, but when I went to Walmart to get those mums, this thing was clearance for $30. The one good thing about Walmart is that you can get some good clearance deals, especially on like gardening stuff, on the stuff that's out in there. They usually have an enclosed kind of gardening area, and if you go towards the end of the season, you can get some good deals. So I don't know what the regular price of this thing was, but I saw it was the last one, nicely intact in the box, and it said $30. I was like, I'll take it. So it's not that I need more planting spaces, and this is small. I think what I'm going to do though is put this one in the front of the house somewhere in the spring, because my front is pretty sparse. The only thing really up there are several fruit trees. I planted a few flowers, and I have like a 2x4 raised bed on my front porch. But really there's not much going on up there. It's pretty simple, which is fine. But that can be added, and it's small enough where it won't be too obtrusive. And maybe I'll plant more flowers because I don't really need any more vegetable space, but I may plant flowers in it. So that was a great buy, a great find. I got my little tiller here, which has seen me through a lot of heavy lifting. Okay, so over here I did mount most of my small hand gardening tools on the wall here. Yeah, and then this shelf, I just got storage. A lot of things here I got on clearance at my local grocery store in their garden center because the season is ending. So a lot of little yard decorations and stuff that I'll put out in the spring. But yeah, so that's all my little supplies that I use. And then up in the loft is all of my bigger things that I'm storing. Fabric, row cover fabric, and extra stuff. Ground cover stuff, weed barrier stuff, all the big things, covers for the green stalks. So all of that stuff just kind of goes up there, and then I get up my little step ladder when I need something, and then I put another hook here for like my jacket or a coat or something. And where did I leave my coffee? I get my cup of coffee. I got my handy dandy little travel mug with cappuccino, my usual morning breakfast. That in a smoothie. I haven't had a smoothie in a couple of weeks though. What else did I want to say about here? Oh, this desktop. Now it's fine. I mean, it's a workbench, but it's rough. You know, this plywood is like rough. You could easily splinter your fingers on that sucker. So I wanted something smooth. So, and I'm doing this all on a shoestring budget, as I've said before. So what I did was I went and got these little cheap sticky towels. And I just got a wood grain one because one, it was the cheapest one they had. And two, it matched the theme here of all of this wood. So these are vinyl sticky towels and they're like 1 foot squares. And I also got some extra adhesive because I am going to cover this with those. They were cheap. This whole box was 40 bucks and there's like 45 of them in here. Yeah, so they're like 80 cents a piece or somewhere in there. So this is really reasonable. I'll probably only need half of the box for this, but I'm going to do the whole top with those just so it's a smooth surface to work on and it's easier to wipe it clean when I get done doing whatever I'm going to be doing out here. That candle I just have here to just get some nice scents in here, scent in here besides the scent of, I don't know, fertilizer and wood. So I am pleased to say that for the most part, other than some caulking and doing this countertop, I am done with my shed project. And the digging up the 2 little garden beds, but that's okay because those, those bulbs won't come up till spring, so it's a long ways off. So I also, over the last 2 weeks, I've been very busy. Like, I've been working. And actually, today is a rest day because I am physically worn out from all the manual labor. So I expanded this bed like I said I was going to. I doubled the length of the rows, as you can see. So I just put my weed barrier down. I didn't have any wood chips, and I'm debating whether I want to get another pile from Chip Drop, because that's a lot. If I get a pile like that pile of wood chips was all the way up to the roof line of my house. I mean, it's a lot of wood chips. So I'm debating whether I want to be spending hours upon hours shoveling wood chips right now, or maybe wait, put it off till next year. We'll see. But right now I put this weed barrier here to kill any potential weeds that will try to come up, because I just tilled it all in. And I amended it with compost and healed it up and redid the fencing to extend it out. Did not damage my Brussels sprouts. And they do have little Brussels sprouts on them. I don't know that you can see them. I don't even know that I can zoom in really well. There's always shadows out in the garden from the sun. The leaves cast shadows, so you can't really see. But there are our baby Brussels sprouts on those. And these are purple Brussels sprouts, all of these. So I'm excited. I like Brussels sprouts quite a bit, roasted. And then under the covers, I have more winter crops, leafy greens. I'm not sure which ones. I know I planted a bunch of cabbage and a bunch of pak choy, purple and green, and probably cauliflower and broccoli, I'm assuming. So there's some of that over here. And then the big field, I have like 3 rows of winter crops. So I'm all done planting for the winter, actually. And in my raised beds, I have more winter crops. So everything's planted and covered. My green stalks, I actually planted more winter crops as well. Oh, this tree is growing so well. Look how tall it is. All right, so my grapevines and berry vines, most of them are, I mean, they've like, I don't even know how many times, 6 times bigger than they were when I planted them in this first season here. So they've all gotten really big, which is a good sign. There's a couple of runts, like this little loganberry. It's growing, but it's still pretty short. And then I have one other grapevine over there that is not growing very fast, but it is still growing. Sunflowers have taken over at that end, and of course they'll be pulled out once they die down. The only other thing really going on is in the big field. Like I said, I planted my winter crops. Everything is covered to keep those bugs off of it, those cabbage moths, which decimate all the leaves. I still have a number of tomatoes, particularly cherry tomatoes. I planted way too many cherry tomatoes, but I still have a number of them in there. I harvest every week, a big batch, and then I try to can them, but it's a lot. I'm not going to lie, a lot of them have gone to pots, gone to waste, because I just can't get to all of them, plus all the other projects I had. I've harvested a few of my bell peppers, but I still got all my peppers here, which is fine, because I kind of like them when they get red. You know, they go from the green to the red. I kind of like them that way. Lots of jalapeno type peppers over here, and I plan to, and cubanelles, I get a lot of those too. So with the jalapeno type ones, I will probably freeze some and then pickle a number of them, because I like, I like pickled jalapenos on like tacos and stuff like that. And the cubanelles, I don't know if those freeze too well. I might try to cook a lot of those, as many as I can, over however long I got left. And then over in my berry patch, I pulled out most of the stuff over there. I am still waiting on this hibiscus. I will show you that right quick. This hibiscus, which Roselle, I'm still waiting on it to flower so I can collect those flowers, and I'm getting worried because the season is winding down, and they're huge. As you can see, they're almost as tall as me, but no flowers yet. The other project I just started, I am very pleased with this. Look at this. Look at that. You know what that is? Those are cattle panels. So I got two. I had been wanting some since I started this whole gardening thing, but I had no way to get them to my house. They're huge. They're like 16 feet long, and I don't have a truck. I don't have anybody who has a truck, at least that's willing to come get me some cattle panels. So a friend of mine offered to strap them to the top of his van and help me get them here. And luckily, Tractor Supply is only like 3 miles from my house, so we didn't have to go far. But yeah, we literally bent them, zip tied them, and then strapped them to his van, the top. And actually, they didn't move or anything. It was a very secure thing. It was just big, it stood out sitting on top of the car. I wouldn't want to do that again, but no problem getting them here. And so the goal is, and there's no rush on this because this is for next year. The goal is to obviously get these T-posts in and get those erected, connected to the T-post with zip ties to make big, over here in the big field, to make big archways, a big archway where I can grow those heavy vines up it, because as you know, my other two little small ones I got and put together from Amazon collapsed under the weight of the squash. So I now have those, and those won't collapse. Let me tell you, those things, well, they're made to keep cattle, I assume, in pasture, so they're pretty strong. So yeah, so I am so excited about that, and being able to use those next year. And then the only other thing going on out here that I need to work on are these green stalks. I have to harvest today. I have been preoccupied with painting, so I haven't gotten to it, but I need to harvest and dry some of this mint on this one. There's a lot of mint. It's regrown. I cut it all back because it got too hot and it started to wilt and die off. There's a lot of it here. I even got more lemon balm here. A lot of the toothache plant, which is great stuff, so I like to dry that and keep it in my apothecary. Lots of rosemary. I love rosemary for cooking. Basil's in there. There's a lot of herbs in there too. So today my goal, it's a rest day, so the only thing I'm really doing outside, when I say rest day, that means no big projects outside, but my goal is to harvest that stuff out of this one. And then for dinner, I'm thinking I'm going to have these leafy greens that are down here at the bottom because they're big and I don't want them to get too big because then they get tougher and everything. I do not know what those are called, but it's some kind of leafy green. I know that, and I've probably eaten them before. So some kind of either mustard green, collard green, or Asian green. So, and I don't even remember planting those. Those may have been just seeds from way back when I planted the cool weather crops in the spring that just kind of regenerated or something. But I'm going to harvest that and have those for dinner today. And that's why I took the covers off of these. And then I have to harvest the stevia. This is the last of it, and it's starting to die back at the bottom. So I'm going to harvest that and dry it. I got plenty of stevia now. I don't know if that's annual or perennial. So if anyone knows, leave a comment. I'm not sure if that's going to come back next year, but I cut it. I'm going to cut it down to, just down to the base. I did that over here for this one, which is also stevia, and it's already sprouting back. So I don't know if that's going to die completely in the winter or what. I still got a little bit of eucalyptus out here, not much. There's a little bit. This is that ice plant. I just grew this for interest because it is so unique. I've never seen anything like that. Like I said, it kind of looks like a succulent, and it has glittery leaves. The leaves look like they have glitter on them. So that's pretty interesting. St. John's wort, a lot of that has finally come in. I'm not sure how I use this St. John's wort. I got to go look that up online. I'm assuming I dry the leaves. I hope it's not the roots that I need because it takes a while to get roots. You need to let it go for a couple of years or something so they can get big enough to harvest. So I'm hoping it's the leaves that I use on the St. John's wort. I'm hoping. All right. And then I even got more mint over here. I don't even know how the mint got over here. I don't know if I planted it here or it just migrated. Mint is crazy like that. And I got some basil too, which I'm going to need to harvest that, use it for cooking. All right. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Really, I just wanted to show you the shed. So, let's see. So, that's all I wanted to show you for today. Thanks for joining me for this hopefully brief video. If you haven't already, like the video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. There should be a subscription little box on the screen that I believe is yellowish, orangish. Hit that so you can subscribe to the channel and you'll get alerts when new videos come out. And that is all. So thank you for joining me and have a wonderful September. Bye-bye.